Welcome to Wisconsin in Focus. I'm J.D. Davidson. The Wisconsin Assembly wants to grow the availability of teacher apprentice programs throughout the state. Currently, only 9 technical schools and 1 university offer the program, and both major cities and rural areas seem to be cut off from a teacher supply. Joining me today is the Center Square's Wisconsin contributor, Ben Young. Ben, where does the potential for expansion of the program stand right now?
Well, this is something that the Assembly and the State Senate have both approved. But the Assembly and the State Senate are also controlled by Republicans, and our Democratic governor, who is the former state superintendent of schools, is a good friend to the teachers' unions. So anything that changes the status quo for both public schools as well as the university pipeline that produces teachers in the state is always met with at least a skeptical eye, if not a flat out no. I haven't seen anything from the governor here that says he's not going to act on this, but I also haven't seen anything that says he is. And this is one of these things that a lot of people agree. Okay, we need to find teachers. The Wisconsin, like just about every other state in the nation, is facing a teacher shortage. The numbers vary and things may be getting a little bit better, but there are not as many young people going into the teaching profession. And so this idea of a teacher apprenticeship program would cut down on some of the red tape at universities, and it would give young people an actual, honest to God, on the job learning experience. And that's part of this teacher shortage, that you get some people who go, take all the tests in college, get their degree, then go and realize that they don't really like being in a classroom, that it's tough to manage or it's not the job that they thought. And so, you add that to the turnover that all young teachers face. And, there are a lot of people who think that if teachers get some more experience before they become full-time teachers, then you have a better chance at keeping them on the job.
Is the program, obviously it's not a new program, it's just an expansion, but is an apprenticeship program a fancy way of saying student teaching?
It's a bit more than student teaching, but yes. Think of it like this. This is how you become a plumber. This is how you become a lineman, what are some of the other trades? A carpenter, a steam fitter. That you go in and you don't know anything. You're a young man, young woman, and you want to work. And so the trades welcome you, and you start out small, and sometimes you're just lifting pipe and sweeping up at the job site. But you learn. Most apprenticeships for the trades are 5 years. You learn on the job. You work with experienced tradesmen. You get a sense of what the job is, what your specialty could be, what you're good at, what you're maybe not so good at. And by the time your apprenticeship is done, you're ready to go that day. You become a journeyman and you are on your way. And by the way, in the trades, you can make some really good money once your apprenticeship is up. And so the people who push this, the Institute for Reforming Government, is one of the biggest backers. They say, look, if this helps us get better plumbers, if this gets us better electricians, this is something that can absolutely help get us better teachers, because not only is it 2 years in the classroom, it's 2 years in the classroom that you're eventually going to teach at. 2 years of college, 2 years of apprenticeship. And so it is student teaching, but it's more than that, because you get paid and it's more supportive than just, okay, you've done all the classroom. Here's your final assignment. Go to this elementary school, babysit these kids. And then next year you're a big teacher on your own. And apprenticeship programs are a bit more in depth and enveloping. And that's the hope here, is that they're trying to find a way to bridge that gap between people who may want to be teachers and then people who find out, well, teaching is not necessarily what I expected.
The program makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. My first thought entering college was to become a social studies teacher in high school. My first semester of college, I was in the 6th grade 1 day a week teaching, and it worked that way for 4 years. I decided to move into journalism, and it had nothing to do with my experience in the classroom. I guess I can't see the downside of moving this program to every college and university that offers a teaching degree.
This is one of the things, is that it's 2 years in a college classroom and then 2 years of an apprenticeship. And so is that going to take away from these college programs that are 4 years? You know, universities are generally reluctant to change. How do you work this out when you're dealing with union time? You know, are you a dues paying member when you are an apprentice? And there's some of those questions that linger around. But I mean, you know, the public schools tend to work the same year after year after year. They are relatively hesitant to change, and they're relatively hesitant to change quickly. But this is one of these times where when you have a crisis, it's an opportunity, right? And when you just don't have as many young people getting into the profession, you need more teachers. And this is not working at McDonald's where you can automate. This is not something where you can go out and hire a 14-year-old or get a foreign worker on an exchange visa. You know, this isn't a restaurant in the Wisconsin Dells. You know, these are public schools. And so you're going to need to find a way to get teachers. And that may drive this. But again, you know, this Governor Evers, is a former teacher himself, former school administrator, former superintendent of education. And so if there's any hint that the powers that be at the Department of Public Instruction or just in general in schools, if there's any hint that they don't like this plan very well may be dead.
I would think, being the former state superintendent and a former teacher, the idea of putting people in the classroom under supervision is a better idea than just sending them out.
I just wrote a story for another outlet here in Wisconsin that Madison Public Schools are partnering with one of their local colleges, Edgewood College, for a sort of hybrid master's program that does something similar. It gets teachers their certification. It cuts through some of the testing and red tape, because when you go to college to become a teacher, you yourself have to take a bunch of tests to prove that you're ready to be a teacher. This plan with the college in Madison allows you to do that and earn a master's degree at the same time and get you in. And so there are other programs that schools have embraced to try and find alternate paths for new teachers. This apprenticeship one is one. Again, look, if this works for plumbers and electricians, I don't know why this couldn't work for elementary school math teachers or high school gym teachers.
I agree. Ben, thanks for joining us today. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.
Audible is a great way to gain access to an ever-growing selection of audiobooks. They've got what everyone's listening to: bestsellers, new releases, that story you've been waiting for. Follow the link in our show description to get 30 days of Audible free.